was named head coach last season. The pride and poise return to the Raiders, the division leaders once again.
Well, what I've tried to do with this team is to change the attitude about winning and losing. This is a very good football team. This team has the capability on offense and defense of getting to the Super Bowl.
The Los Angeles Raiders beat the Miami Dolphins on ABC's Monday Night Football.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Are you ready for some football? A Monday night party? Hey, this is Rockin' Randall Hank. Ready to get the good time started. From the opening kickoff to the grand finale, it's a Super Bowl season on a ABC. Yes, everybody is a fan.
Get rowdy.
This is the biggest party, man. All my rowdy friends across this land. We all got it started. Yeah. Everything is ready. Everything is right. Monday Night Football is coming on tonight.
That's right.
AFC. Hello again, everyone. I'm Frank Gifford along with Al Michaels and Dan DIERDOFF. We're so happy you're with us. We've looked forward to this game for a long time. The two winningest teams in the history of the National Football League, the Raiders and the Miami Dolphins, and back on top. The Miami Dolphins got off to a great start this year. They're 8-1. They lost only to the undefeated New York Giants, and it's a remarkable turnaround from an 8-8 season a year ago. They've done it with Marino, but basically they're the best defense, at least at the moment, in the National Football League. The Raiders, they got off to a great start. They won their first 4, 6 of their first 7. They've staggered a little over the last 2. They've lost a couple of games. And Al Michaels, I think it's very important for the Raiders, if they're going to stay hot as they've been and get their win tonight and stay one game ahead of Kansas City, to get it together tonight and regain the confidence they had at the beginning of the season.
Frank, I think this is an extremely important game for the Raiders in a way that they are back. Well, they have not had a winning season since 1985. That's the last time they were in the playoffs. And frankly, this is a team that's been in a lot of flux, not only on the field, but certainly off the field in the mid-'80s and in the late 80s. Remember, when this season began, they didn't know whether they were staying in Los Angeles. They didn't know whether they were moving to the L.A. suburb of Irwindale. They didn't know if they were going back to Oakland. They didn't know if they were going to Sacramento or even Casablanca, for all we know. But as far as it is concerned right now, Al Davis has made his deal with Los Angeles. They will remain there. Stability has returned. Art Shell has created stability on the field, but they have staggered the last 2 weeks, especially offensively. What they need tonight is a better performance than they've gotten the last 2 weeks from the quarterback, Jay Schrader, and maybe finally some explosiveness from Bo Jackson, who is in a football uniform for the 4th time this season, but comes in averaging a very ordinary 3.7 yards per carry. If the Raider glory years are truly back, Dan, they will celebrate a victory on the red-eye tonight back to Los Angeles against the Miami team that is 8-1. That surprises people, but maybe it shouldn't. When you look at the stadium began to fill up, you heard the chant of defense, defense from what is now a capacity crowd at Joe Robbie Stadium. The Raiders to kick off. Jaeger puts it in the air to Scott Schwades from the 2. Schwades, who was just re-signed last week, brings it back to the 32-yard line. Because of the Dolphin injury, Schwades, who had been a Dolphin and had gone to San Diego, has come back. Dan Marino throwing Tony Martin, the wideouts. Mark Clayton is hurt. Edmonds, the tight end, and the 2 rookies on the left side have really solidified this offensive line. Webb and Sims. Marino on first down to throw, and incomplete through the hands of the versatile Jim Jensen, who, because of those Dolphin injuries, will see even more action tonight than he normally does. The Raiders play a basic 4-3 with Lolich, Scott Davis having an excellent year, as is Greg Townsend. The linebackers, Ricky Ellison, the former 49er, is in the middle between Robinson and Benson. The corners, McDaniel and Washington. The safeties, the former Bronco Mike Harden and the hard-hitting Eddie Anderson. 2nd and 10. Dolphins from the 31-yard line. Jensen goes in motion, and Sammy finds no room and is pushed back after the initial contact. It is Greg Townsend who finishes Smith off, and Smith will do more ball carrying tonight than normal because of the absence of the fullback, Tony Page, who not only provides the blocking normally for him and carries the ball occasionally, but has been the Dolphins' leading receiver.
And a 3rd down and 10 now. The Dolphins bring in the 4 wide receivers. Scott Schwades comes into the lineup. Tony Martin is there, Mark Duper. And Troy, number 23, had a big game last week. A good running back, a good receiver out of the backfield.
3rd and 10 from the 31. Marino, 4-man rush, and that's something you don't see a lot. Marino gets sacked, but there's also a flag down. Greg Townsend will get the sack. The Raiders last week sacked Don Mikowski 8 times, and the call here is against Miami for holding.
62 offense, penalty declined, 4th down.
I think Townsend not only got the sack, but he forced the hold on Harry Galbraith as well. He kind of catches Galbraith by surprise, and Galbraith has really in that position not much of a choice but to ride him to the ground, and Townsend gets the sack and the hold. Not a bad way to start the game.
Reggie Roby, as usual, a great average, 43.2. Raiders try to block it and almost do. There's contact made. There is a flag as well as Roby was run into, and another flag after the run back by Tim Brown brings him to the 36. So you've got a flag for either roughing or running into the kicker, and another flag on the run back. Referee is Gordon McCarter.
And of course, this will be a critical decision by Gordon McCarter, which to call, running into or roughing the kicker. Running into the kicker, remember, is only a 5-yard penalty.
We have 2 fouls, personal foul, roughing the kicker, number 51 on the defense.
That's what I talked about. Remember, the referee in that situation has to make a decision. Was it just running into the kicker, or was it roughing the kicker? And in this case, it was called roughing the kicker. That's a 15-yard personal foul and a 1st down. A critical error by the Raiders here early.
Aaron Wallace just took a bad angle to that punt. He had no way to block it, but he couldn't hardly miss Roby, and he connected and got the. He didn't go for where the ball was going to come off the foot, and that's what you've got to do.
Miami maintains possession, 1st and 10 at the 38-yard line. Sammy Smith is the sole running back. That's Jensen in motion, and Smith spins to the 40-yard line. He is stopped by Greg Townsend after a gain of 2, and it will be 2nd down and 8. It's been a long time since they've had a 1,000-yard rush. Troy Stratford comes in now, back in this set. Marino on 2nd and 8, and Marino gets sacked again. Scott Davis is there for the sack, and remember, it's Marino and that Dolphin line that pretty much had protected Marino for what amounted to 1 full season. He had gone that long without being sacked.
Boy, this is strictly a power rush to the outside by Davis. He's working against Keith Sims, their rookie at left guard, and boy, that's just getting the leverage. And Dan Marino, look at his awareness, seeing that sack coming from the backside and jumping up into the air, kind of riding Davis to the ground. Boy, an impressive start here by the Raider front 4 early.
Marino had been sacked only 6 times all season coming into the game. 3rd and 15 from the 33. Raiders rush 4, and Marino just throws it up for grabs, and Stratford makes the catch and wishes he had Eddie Anderson, the hitman.
Wow, you're supposed to let him in a little bit on the screen. That time flowed in on Marino. He lobbed it up in the air, and it gave Anderson time to cover the ground to get almost into the screen himself. He actually came very close to picking it off.
As an offensive lineman, you're supposed to stop that initial rush of the defensive line and then release to the screen. The Dolphins that time just didn't even rub him.
Roby to kick, Tim Brown back to receive, and it's a very wobbly and very poor kick that spins out of bounds at the 48-yard line, and that's a 20. Remaining in the opening quarter, and it's Jay Schrader. Performed well through the first 7 games, but he's had 2 off weeks back-to-back. Marcus Allen, Steve Smith start in the backfield. We'll see a lot of Bo Jackson, of course. Dalton Fernandez, the wideout. Ethan Horton, the converted running back, is the tight end. And the guys up front, Mosbar, 9 year as usual. Montoya, the longtime Bengal, came over to the Raiders in the offseason, doing well at right guard. Marcus Allen into Miami territory, inside the 40, and Marcus Allen to the 33-yard line. And the Raiders begin with a 19-yard gain on the ground against the league's #1 defense. Green and Oliver make the tackle.
Exactly what Art Shell told us we were going to see. Straight ahead blocking and attack this Miami, which has wonderful team speed and excellent pursuit. Fine blocking to the right side behind Wright and Montoya. And what's new about watching Marcus Allen loosen a secondary?
He's been doing it since 1982. Allen started as if he was going into motion, then stops and takes the handoff and picks up about 7 to the 26. Now the Dolphin defense, they've gone from 24th in the league to 1st. Florida Gators, Jarvis Williams and Lewis Oliver, a good pair of safeties. 2nd and 3, and they give it to Allen again over the right side, and Allen, seeking the first down, is very close as he takes it to the 23-yard line. In on the tackle is number 92, David Griggs, the linebacker.
Art Shell last night made no bones about it. He was going to get the running game going no matter how long he had to stay with it. He said, this is what we've got. And perhaps putting the defense of the Miami Dolphins in perspective, if we could. They have 6 wins, but 2 of those wins were against New England, 2 were against the Jets, 1 was against Phoenix, and 1 was against Indianapolis. 6 of their 8 against teams that aren't considered major powerhouses offensively.
Meanwhile, the Raiders, as you saw, have been stymied on the ground through the last 2 games, but begin promisingly tonight. Allen, the 4th straight time, picks up the first down, takes it to the 19-yard line, and one of the reasons Steve Smith sees a lot of action at full was evident right there. A good block to pave the way.
Good block to lead Allen, but also a very smart move on the part of Allen. Good heads-up running. He could have strung that to the sideline, maybe gone for big distance, but he knew he was going to get the first down. 35 is Steve Smith. Buries the linebacker trying to close. Now watch Allen. He didn't go to the outside. He knew where the first down was. He cut it back against the grain and got it.
1st and 10 from the 19-yard line. Allen, a 5th straight time, takes it to the 14, and you don't have to worry about using him up, because if he needs a blow, you just go to the bench for number 34, Bo Jackson.
You know, I kidded him about that last night, Allen. I said, you know, you're 30 years old, you're a running back, you shouldn't be carrying that thing 20, 25 times a game. He said, look, I'm 30 years old, but I can carry it that many times a game. He's not terribly happy about it. And I believe him. He's in great shape, not beat up too much over his career. And he would like to get it that many times.
He's already carried as many times tonight as he did all of last week. And here he is again. So a portent of things to come for the Raiders. As Allen is on the ground, taking it down to the 10-yard line. 6 carries in a row. It'll be 3rd down and 1 at the 10.
And this is about the time where the Miami defense starts talking to one another in the huddle, saying, what is happening here, guys? This can't be happening to us. A lot of raised eyebrows and looking around. There's Tom Olivedati, their defensive coordinator. And this is a defense that hasn't spent much time this season back on their heels. This is where they find themselves right now.
3rd one, Smith the fullback, Allen the tailback. That's Mueller in motion. And who else? Marcus puts his head down and is stopped at about the 9 by Jeff Cross. And it's going to be, I think, a little short of the first down.
A little short, and big decision time for Art Shell on the sidelines. You've been able to move the ball on the ground. Shall we go on 4th down?
As the Raiders huddle is down to 10.
Allen is pointing to the clock ticking.
On 4th and inches, it's Allen, and he doesn't get it.
There's the pound machine. Boy, that'll give him a big lift.
A mistake there by the Los Angeles Raiders. If you're going to go for it on 4th down, don't rush the play. There, the Raiders were in such a hurry to try to beat the clock that they didn't get off the line of scrimmage. The left side of the line was slow getting off. Miami reacted to the ball. Lewis Oliver gets in there.
Straight time, stopped at the 10. First down, Miami. And it's a toss to Sammy Smith. A flag is dropped as Smith takes it out to the 16. He is tackled there by Scott Davis. Gordon McCarter is the referee. Line judge was the man who made the call, and it's a motion penalty against the Dolphins.
But he just didn't have one out there.
Scott Davis got the other sack, and Sammy Smith goes nowhere on 1st and 15. Lionel Washington up from the corner to break the play up, helped out by Jerry Robinson.
It'll be interesting tonight to see how Sammy Smith reacts to this type of defense that the Raiders want, because they penetrate, they crash gaps. They try every time to get someone a yard or so upfield, Frank, to disrupt that blocking scheme, and Smith can't bounce it to the outside every time or he's going to get caught.
You've got to look at it and slash it back to the inside. Go against the grain is about the only way you're going to make yardage.
2nd and 15. He's going to have to do it tonight also without Tony Page, who's done such a marvelous job blocking. Page is hurt and on the inactive list. Garrett Limbrick is in there in the backfield with Smith, and the pass is thrown complete to number 89, Martin, out to the 14-yard line. Mike Harden makes the tackle, and Martin will see some action tonight in the absence of Mark Clayton.
That's Marino without pressure. You saw that little flick of the wrist. Let's take a look at Martin. Hometown boy, grew up here, went to Northwestern High School. A lot of pressure on him. They took a little off. They took him off the punt return team, figuring he'd relax a little bit. He's been struggling. He had a great preseason, and they're counting heavily upon him tonight with Banks being out and Andre Brown and, of course, Clayton.
No score, 4:57 left, first quarter, 3rd and 5, Miami. Marino out of the shotgun, and it's incomplete. Looking for the flag was Mark Duper, but none is thrown. Lionel Washington, who was let go by the Cardinals, he was getting burned a lot in Phoenix, and the Raiders picked him up, and he's done a great job for LA.
He's the type of cornerback that might get called every game or every other game, maybe for he'll put that left hand on a receiver, and more often than not he'll get away with it.
Roby's first punt was 22 yards. This is certainly more Roby-like. In fact, it's a 52-yard kick to the 33, and Tim Brown brings it back to the 44. Brown coming back after knee surgery cost him almost all of the 1989 season. Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami. 4:35 left in the first quarter. Nothing. Threw for 5 touchdowns next Monday night. And then, of course, 2 weeks from tonight, Candlestick Park, the Giants against the 49ers. Here, no score. First down, LA from the 44. And Marcus takes it to the 50. If you're wondering, they keep about every record you can think of in sports, but there is no category for most consecutive rushes, so there's nothing to look up. Allen has carried the ball 9 consecutive times. I can't think of anybody ever carrying 9 times.
But if anybody was going to do it, you'd think it'd be done on a team coached by an offensive lineman, Art Shell. They love to run the ball. They hate to throw it. Look at that, 9-0, all running. That pleases Art Shell, an old tackle, immensely.
9 carries for 48 yards. 2nd and 4. And this is Bo Jackson taking it to the 49 of Miami, so they give Allen a breather. Jackson picks up about 1.5 yards. John Offerdahl makes the tackle. What about the Raiders' normal play selection coming in this season? There it is. They have run 55% of the time and thrown 45%.
If you look at the Raiders and their blocking scheme, it doesn't simpler than what they're trying to do. It is nothing more than man-to-man, take your guy, and blocking backwards.
Now on 3rd and 3, you've got Jackson and Allen together in the backfield.
Allen, one of the fine receivers out of the backfield.
They leave Allen in to block, and he does his job, and the pass is caught by Mervin Fernandez, very close to a first down. It's going to depend on the spot at the 46-yard line, and looks close enough to measure.
Ooh, Mervin broke that thing off a yard early. I mean, that's his job, to be able to get at least to run that pattern at the 45-yard line. You can't come up short on only needing 3 yards for a first down.
Exactly. You have to take it up to get the yardage for the first down. It's really knowing where you are on the field. Fernandez, of course, averaging nearly 18 yards a carry. He's usually not the possession type of receiver for the Raiders, but he ekes it out.
By the length of the football, a first down at the 46-yard line.
I don't think the receiver would like to stroll over to the sidelines and explain to his 300-pound coach why he came up 6 inches short on a first down pass pattern. I wouldn't want to explain it to that guy.
First and 10. Napoleon McCallum is in the game for the first time, and it's McCallum laying down the block for Bo Jackson, who bursts through the middle and takes it to the 37. Jackson, coming into this game, does not have a run this year longer than 11 yards.
Carried it about 35 times. As Niala gained about 118 yards coming into it, and he just has not been able to break one off. But you can see here the acceleration. Many people would tell you that he runs a little better to his left, and he does it right. Most runners have a side that they prefer to run to, and he apparently likes it to the left.
2nd and 1. The fake to McCallum. A lot of time for Schrader, and he threads the needle at the 13-yard line, hitting Willie Gauld. He's tackled by Oliver, and the Raiders have a first down deep in Miami territory.
Oh, you want to play all night if you can get Gauld on an Oliver. Oliver, the big safety man, tough hitter from safety, but he's never going to stay with the Willie Gauld. And that time he was in a man-for-man situation. Schrader with all the time in the world, Dan, to let Gauld uncover. But Oliver, good hitter, good in his zone, man-to-man, forget it. Gauld's going to beat him.
Well, that's from a protection standpoint. That's what happens when you run the ball that many times. I mean, the pass obviously took Miami by surprise, and Louis Oliver says, well, if I can't cover him, I'll talk to him.
One opening quarter, no score. First down. This is McCallum, the former Navy star, taking it to the 11-yard line. There is no shortage of running backs for the Raiders. You start with Allen and Jackson. You go to Napoleon McCallum. You've got.
You will win a lot, and the Dolphins have.
On 2nd and 8, Jackson swings to the outside, and he stopped at the 12-yard line. Jarvis Williams coming up to break the play up.
They want to be great up and make the stop and holding Bo Jackson to about 1.5 yards.
Big third down play comes up for the Raiders when the second quarter starts. And back we come after this commercial message and a word from our ABC. At first quarter, no score. Raiders threaten as we begin the second quarter. At the 11-yard line, the Raiders come up to the line of scrimmage. 3rd down and 9. Gauld in motion. Allen stays in the block. Then Schrader dumps it off for Allen at the 11-yard line, and Marcus can get only to the 6. 3 yards short of the first down. Rodney Thomas comes up to make the tackle, and the Raiders will send the field goal unit in.
Good coverage, and Don Shula will talk about the coverage sacks that they've had this year. That time Schrader scrambled out. Allen stayed in the backfield to pick up anyone who might be coming on the blitz, and he dumped it off to him. Good coverage by that secondary that we were talking about a moment ago. Vastly improved over a year ago, particularly at the corners with Tim McKyer. They picked him up in a trade, of course, from San Francisco, and J.B. Brown. A 12th round pick of the 1989.
Will be 23 yards.
Jeff Jaeger to attempt the field goal. Jeff Gossett to hold. Raiders having trouble getting set, and they are forced to use a timeout. Somebody coming in late, and LA had to waste a timeout. 47 seconds into the second quarter. Numbers through the first 15 minutes of play. The only Dolphin first down by way of a penalty. Raiders controlling the flow of the game and the tempo on the ground, and right now they'll try to cash in for 3. 23-yard field goal attempt. Jeff Jaeger with Gossett holding, Dan Turk to snap it. And Los Angeles takes the lead as the Raiders go on top by a score of 3-0 with 14:09 remaining in the opening half. 12:30 Pacific. Raiders to kick off, and Jaeger's kick goes out of bounds, but at the 5-yard line. If you kick it out after it passes the goal line, it's simply a touchback. But here, it comes out to the 35-yard line. So Jaeger barking at himself as he walks off the field, and Miami has a first down at the 35. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Ford and your. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Budweiser, the king of beers. Remember, know when to say when.
That was a handsome kick by Jaeger. I've seen them hit the field and bounce out. He missed the field by a good 6 or 7 yards, wide left, in the bunker.
It's a big field.
Marino on first down, a little short drop, and Sidney Smith juggled the football. That's Lionel Washington.
Hello. That's picking them up and laying them down. All in one smooth motion.
And that little bobble by Smith attracted the crowd.
Lionel Washington, a rather slight guy at 6 feet, 185 pounds, not known as a bruising tackler, but picking up a much bigger man, and that is a fumble, but the ball came right back to Sammy Smith. The ball comes out way before he hits the ground.
Washington had his helmet right on that ball.
That's a 2-yard that he held on without juggling. It would have been a 1-yard gain, but it's a fumble recovery and a 1-yard loss. On 2nd and 11, the catch is made by Jensen in between a pair of defenders. Jensen has it out to the 42-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 3. Benson and Washington for the coverage.
He wants to throw the ball into whom? Nobody delivers it fast.
3rd and a short 3 from the 42-yard line. 12:35 to go. First half. 3-0 Raiders. Jensen has to get 45. He reaches out, and it is very, very close. You can see where the marker is, right on the chalk at the 45. Robinson makes the tackle.
With a change off by Marino, he looked up and saw the Raiders 9 men across the line of scrimmage. Changed it off, handed to Jensen, and they're close to a first down.
But they don't have it.
Yeah, Jerry Robinson was all over that. I mean, that's the type of play. If Robinson doesn't read that correctly and make the tackle all by himself, that's an easy down for Jensen and the Dolphins.
And a big gainer.
And here's a decision now for Shula. 4th and inches.
Oh, not from your own 45.
Right, he's going to send Roby in. He thought about it for just a moment because the play clock is right now down to 4 seconds. So they're going to take a delay of penalty as well, which is not necessarily a big deal at this point for Roby.
Now with the Roby, they'll just back it up 5, and he can still spank it way down inside the 20.
So that'll move the line of scrimmage back to the 40.
Can't believe there's any way that Don Shula was seriously considering going for it on 4th down on a 3-0 ball game from your own 45-yard line.
Sets up at his own 20. Roby with a wobbly kick, a fair catch called for at the 21. It's a 39-yard kick for Roby, and the Raiders will take over at their own 21-yard line. 11:24. Look down on Joe Robbie Stadium from the newest of the Goodyear blimps, the Spirit of Akron. Jim Maloney is at the high above JRS, as it's known, a facility that opened in 1987 and named for the late owner of the Miami Dolphins, Joe Robbie.
We've had sellouts, but this is the first time the blackout's been lifted here since, what, December of '87.
Right. Over 2 years since the home game was televised. First down from the 21-yard line. Schrader, and it's dropped by Willie Gault at the 26-yard line. Oliver with the coverage. Dolphins have had year-to-year defensive improvement on a magnitude never seen before in the NFL. There it is. Last year, 356 yards per game. This year, 219. 38.5% improvement. And you go back to 1955 when the Redskins improved by about a third. And you can see the type of defense that Miami has exhibited under Tom Olivadotti this season. Bo Jackson drags Jarvis Williams for 4 out to the 25.
Well, it's kind of a tough start for Bo Jackson, though, when he's meeting a member of the secondary in the backfield. Jarvis Williams comes on the blitz off the corner. And Bo Jackson really has no chance at all. That's quite an effort by Mr. Vincent Jackson there to even get any positive yardage at all. I mean, look, Williams meets him well into the backfield. The awesome leg strength of Bo Jackson just drags Williams for a good 6 yards.
Bo back on the sidelines. Marcus the backfield, 3rd and 6, LA from the 25. Allen needs 6. Gets 8. First down up at the 33-yard line. Tackle made by Lifford Hobley. Bo back in.
Straight ahead blocking on the right side, and again the presence of Marcus Allen bringing it back to the inside, knowing what he needs for that first down.
Must be frustrating, though, for a guy like Marcus to make a run like that, something with such regularity, and then trot over to the sidelines. I mean, this is a guy that, as Frank mentioned, even though he's 30 years old, I mean, it's just not his style to come out.
First down from the 33 and nearly picked off. A risky pass. Tim McKyer, the former 49er, on a pass intended from Irvin Fernandez.
It was a free shot for McKyer. He had Lewis Oliver in the zone behind him, and he had an opportunity to get that into the end zone. He came close.
Well, I don't know what McKyer read here, but he either read or he read Fernandez, because he makes his break before the ball is even released. Tim McKyer must have spent some hours in front of the projector this week going over the tape. He saw something and reacted.
2nd and 10 from the 33. Raiders guns one to midfield, and it's Willie Gault making the catch for a first down at the Miami 49-yard line.
That was a super effort on the part of Schrader. Got a strong arm. And one of the faults has been maybe not being able to take a lot off at this time. Schrader gets in trouble right about here and steps back into the pocket right about here. Good move by Gault. Freezes Offerdahl. And Schrader throws it in about the only area where he can get the completion.
9:15 left in the half. Raiders lead 3-0. First down at the 49. Bo Jackson behind a Smith block, and Bo is run out at the 42-yard line by J.B. Brown, who was a 12th round draft choice out of Maryland last year.
Jackson can turn that corner, and particularly going to his left.
Well, again, though, it's another effective lead block out front.
Steve Smith was out for a couple of plays. He had, we are told, a couple stitches put in over his right eye.
2nd and 3 at the 42. Raiders dominating on the ground, and that's a first down as Steve Smith carries for the first time tonight. They use him a lot, though, even though that's his first carry of the evening. Coming into the game, he was the 2nd leading ground gainer for the Raiders, averaging 3.8 per carry.
Well, the guy weighs 240 pounds. You can see there the size of his lower legs. And in this Raiders scheme where they run out of that 2-back set, and that lead block is critical, and Steve Smith fills the bill. This is the kind of guy that, in many ways, more important than a Marcus Allen or a Bo Jackson. Without him, it doesn't happen.
First down at the 38. Schrader, pump fake as he fakes toward Jackson and then goes deep down the left side for Gault, who can't make the catch at the 5. J.B. Brown with the coverage. Gault had gotten behind him, but the pass not there.
Took about 3 plays before the Raiders.
Both feet in the field of play. That would have been an incomplete, even if he'd have caught it.
Total yardage 134-3, but it's only 3-0 on the scoreboard. 2nd and 10. Schrader to a wide open Tim Brown, and Brown seeking the first down and has it as he stretches to the 28-yard line. He's tackled by Offerdahl. 7:45 left in the half. Raiders on top 3-0 and dominating.
Another team had 3 Heisman Award winners. Here's Offerdahl. He was really much better against the run. They don't like to get him into deep coverage. You can see by looking. He kind of lumbers. He doesn't run back there. A couple of knee braces and a whole lot of shoulder pads, but he gets back into it. But Raiders with their 3 Heisman Award winners, Tim Brown you saw, Marcus Allen, and of course Bo Jackson.
From the 28, Jackson behind Smith, and Bo takes it to the 20-yard line for a gain of 8. Offerdahl makes the stop. thoughts of Art Shell on Bo Jackson?
Right now, Bo's in pretty good shape. He keeps himself in pretty good condition. Right now, he's going through training camp, I guess you could say. But there doesn't seem to be any problem as far as health is concerned, as far as his conditioning is concerned. And we expect good things out of him the rest of the year.
And getting good things thus far tonight out of Jackson and Allen. 2nd and 2 from the 20. Bo again. Has the first down. He got to the 18 line, hit hard by Cliff Odom. But his forward progress, I believe, has netted him the first.
I think back again to last night in our talk with Art Shell when he said nothing complicated tomorrow night. I told my guys we're just going to run 5 or 6 running plays. We're going to keep it between the tackles. We're not going to use any complicated blocking schemes. We are going to take it straight at the Miami Dolphins. And gentlemen, they've been doing so thus far to a lot of success.
He wasn't lying. This is the 12th play of the drive that started at the Raider 21. 3-0 LA, 5:40 to go in the half. On a reverse, here's Jackson to the 10-yard line. His speed got him to the outside, and he picks up 8.
I think I should win the timing award at the very least. I mean, that was a between the tackles reverse.
Yeah, but you know what you can do is when you're able to control the ball like they have on the ground, like you say, Dan, going straight at them, you begin to get that defense in tighter and tighter, and then you fake straight up the middle, and you give it the reverse, and you get this kind of action. Hey, when you can run the football, you can do almost anything you want on the field, particularly play action pass. You got a 2nd down and a waste down here. It's a good time to come with play action. When you run the football, you control the ball game.
2nd and 2. The Raiders have already rushed for 100 yards tonight. Allen picks up 2. That's 102 yards for the Raiders tonight. And this season, all season long, the Raiders, or the defense, has allowed 100 yards on the ground only twice, to the Giants and to the Jets.
Yeah, an average of only 73 yards a game, Al. And I mean, that's extraordinary too. And tonight already at this point they've given up over the century mark. And Tom Olivedade and Don Shula conferring. Don Shula, of course, at this point in time, blames it all on the defensive coordinator.
That's where it really all counts. They've only given up an average of 10.7 points per game.
5 minutes to go in the half. And goal. Reminder, college football coming your way this Saturday here on ABC. And we've got Michigan against Ohio State at 1st and goal from the 8. Allen tries to get to the outside, and Hugh Green says, not this time, pal. Crowd chanting, Hugh, Hugh, Hugh.
2nd and goal.
Boy, there's a situation where both of the Miami linebackers walked right what they call a snug position, right on the line of scrimmage. And there is just a solid wall of backed up offensive linemen right there.
Ordinarily you don't do that, but I recall a Super Bowl of a few years ago where Allen popped in there, backed off, and took it, some 70 yards for a touchdown?
Against Washington following the 83 season. Last time the Raiders won a playoff game. 2nd and goal on a delay. Here's Allen, and he can't swing to the outside. He is tripped up by Offerdahl. 3rd and goal.
Okay, that's where Offerdahl works the best. Between the tackles. He is, of course, a multiple Pro Bowl player there. Surprising when he came up as a 2nd-round draft pick in '86 and Pro Bowl his first year. Just reached out a big ham-like arm and tripped up Allen.
3rd and goal, 3:25 remaining in the half. 3-0 Raiders in a game totally dominated by the Raiders in every phase, but on the shot Raider. The Raiders at the 10 on 3rd and goal is Schrader. Leaves Allen into block and fires incomplete, but there's a flag. Intended for Fernandez. Did McKyer hold him?
He locked up with him pretty good.
Well, they had a little switch pattern over in the right, a little bit of a pick, if you want to call it that. I don't know whether they're going to call pass interference or they're going to call the pick.
But actually, it looked like the 2 Dolphins ran one another.
Holding, number 22 defense. 5 yards, automatic first down. 1st and goal.
Watch this. Watch the break to the inside. This is Mackire that gets called from the hold, and then the pattern to the outside. But watch, the two Dolphin defenders are actually the two guys that run in. There's Timmy Brown breaking to the outside.
The play is designed to have them run into each other, and that is absolutely perfect.
And Fernandez, you're right. I didn't touch anybody. You can't call a pick on me.
That's the 7th first down on this drive for the Raiders, who get a break. 1st and goal from the 5, and Bo Jackson gets taken down after he reaches the 1. Cliff Odom, first to hit him. 2nd and goal. We have 2:53 remaining in the half. Fast half. Remember, the Dolphins have not given up. Their defense hasn't given up a touchdown in almost 3.5 games. And again, they've not given up a rushing touchdown since week 3. Otis Anderson.
Only team they lost to, 20-3, up at Giant Stadium.
The Raiders in the huddle here for a long time.
Play clock is down to 6. 2nd and goal, just inside the 2.
They're not going to get it off, Al.
And Schrader has to take another timeout, so they burn their 2nd. They have 1 remaining. We have 2:19 on the clock. First half, still 3-0.
This is ABC's NFL Monday Night Football from Miami to ABC New York.
With Steve Smith and Bo Jackson in the backfield, and Vance Mueller set on a wing to the right. Mueller in motion. Fake to Jackson. Schrader throws. It's tipped and incomplete. Intended for Ethan Horton, the tight end. Good coverage, though.
Just a good smart play on Schrader. He just threw that one away. I mean, good coverage.
Is incomplete.
Miami having to play for the run, still able to drop into good pass coverage.
All right, well, let me be devil's advocate here. You're jamming the ball down their throat all game so far. You get down to the 2-yard line, 2nd and goal at the 2, and you throw a play-action pass like that? I mean, you've got to be kidding me.
Has to be something that they have read in their looking at previous games with the Dolphins. They've been running it so well.
Ultimate element of surprise, I suppose. 3rd and goal, back to the basics, and Marcus Allen for the touchdown. On a delayed call, he's in there.
I mean, you are controlling the line of scrimmage. You've got a chance to really drive a nail into the Dolphins here. Why ease up? Why take the pressure off by going to something cute? You hurt him when you run it in like that, and you can see the look on Olividate's and Shula's face. That hurt.
2 months since the Dolphins have given up a touchdown on the ground, and Marcus Allen, touchdown number 87, and he moves past Eric Dickerson. That's the most for anybody currently active in the NFL.
Well, I'm going to read these names off. Graves, Wisniewski, Mosbar, Montoya, and Wright. They are controlling the tempo of this game. The offensive line of the Raiders.
And that former running back at tight end, Horton. Not bad running by the Trojan.
79-yard drive. 2:06 to go in the half. 10-0, Los Angeles. Nothing. Raiders. Jeff Jaeger to kick off. Fielded at the 1 by Scott Schwady. He takes it out to the 23. And the Dolphins will begin their drive from that spot with 1:57 remaining in the half. The 2-minute warning. Hughes, Allen, and more. Marcus 59 yards on the ground. Bo 43.
Hart was rather explicit when he said last night, we're going to go straight at him. We're going to run the football. I think they're running the football.
Well, it would be impressive the way the Raiders are running the ball tonight against anybody. But when you take into consideration the league's #1 defense, as we look at Larry Zonka and Paul Warfield and our own Bob Greasy, there's Pete Elliott, the executive director of Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, and the Miami Dolphins tonight establishing a ring of honor here at the stadium.
There's Jim Langer, the offensive lineman, who also is a Hall of Fame. Will go up here at Robbie Stadium at halftime.
First down from the 23. Marino has to step up and then has it deflected by Jerry Robinson.
I guess the other thing that's happening at halftime here tonight is that Bob Greasy is going to be formally presented his Hall of Fame ring. Big night for him again here tonight.
2nd and 10 from the 23. Pressure. Jensen makes the catch over the middle, and Jensen bulls his way out to the 41-yard line. He's tackled by Carden and Eddie Anderson, and Marino doesn't want to use a timeout here. The Dolphins have all 3 remaining.
All right, Jerry Robinson came close to picking up a personal foul there coming in late, didn't he?
Yes, sir.
If he'd have really hit him, I think he'd have drawn the flag.
On 1st and 10, Jensen again. Similar play, first down at the 43-yard line. Elvis Patterson makes the tackle. And the Dolphins use their first timeout.
And Jensen showing some dazzling open field.
Sort of. Timeout Miami. Home against LA, and then they meet 2 weeks from tonight. Here, first down Miami at the 44-yard line. Marino goes deep for Duper, a juggling non-catch. He didn't have it. Lionel Washington helped to break it up.
What a great effort by Duper, and he almost came up with a sensational catch. Had it in his hand. Being covered man for man. Lionel Washington is right there. Pulls it in. And let's give Washington the credit. It was a great defensive play. Duper had it pulled in.
Yeah, he did.
Washington stripped him. That's great defense. Bobbled it. And he knocks it away.
And that is extremely close to being a reception and then a fumble. I think it was a non-catch, but awful close.
2nd and 10. Open on the far side is Tony Martin for a first down to the 30. The clock down to a minute. The Dolphins have 2 timeouts remaining. Benson makes the tackle.
Oh, Tony Martin should have got that out of bounds. He had the first down. He tried to turn it into something major, and look at the seconds tick away.
First down from the 30. Marino fires to Troy Stratford at the 19-yard line. That's another first down, and Miami will spend its 2nd timeout. Dolphins have, and we have 41 seconds remaining in the half. Miami on the move.
And the great year Warren Moon is having. We're going to take a close-up look at a rather exceptional, extraordinary individual, Warren Moon, at halftime. Hang around with us.
First down, Miami from the 19. They have 1 timeout left.
Is that bump and run or what?
And Marino gets hit as he throws, but gets it away, and a flag goes down. It's dropped. Aaron Wallace came flying in, decked Marino, and then Duper dropped the ball.
I think Gary Lewis grabbed Troy Stratford. He wasn't even in the play.
Holding, number 48, defense, 5 yards, automatic first down.
That's Lionel Washington who gets
up on the line of scrimmage playing bump and run. Here they are again.
Raider football, they love the challenges.
First down from the 14-yard line. 4-man rush. There's a great catch by Schwades for the touchdown.
Thrown by Dan Marino.
Pete Stoyanovich for the point after. And as you put it, Frank, he's only here because of the injuries to Clayton and to Freddie Banks, the once and present Dolphin.
And there's Mark Clayton in the white hat congratulating Scott Schwades.
And Marino with just too much time. That was Terry McDaniel.
On that drive, 5 of 7 for 72 yards.
And I think the Raiders defensively must have known that they would have to look to Jim Jensen to have a big night with the injuries to the 3 wide receivers. And yet he was virtually uncovered. Picked up 2 big plays to get the ball to midfield on that drive.
Jamie Holland last week, number 82, had an 80-yard return against Green Bay. He's back there with the sprinter Ron Brown. Stojanovich's pick taken by Brown, the gold medalist at the '84 Olympics.
There's a medal ceremony.
Rick Graff came right in and hung one right around his neck. So the Raiders have it at the 21-yard line. They have only one timeout. 25 seconds.
Ron Brown saying, I liked it better when he had to stay in his lane.
That's right.
You got disqualified for crossing that line. Not in this game, Ron.
That ball's out of baton. You can't hand it off. He covered it up well, though. He knew he was going to get the shock, and he covered it well.
Raiders will run the clock out. Schrader with a little kneel down and then a shoving match. Will end this first half. Pretty fascinating half. Raiders dominate for the first 28 minutes. Dolphins get right back in the game with a typical Marino. And as Don said to us yesterday, the only thing he regrets is that Joe Robbie is not here to see what's happened to the Dolphins this season, the complete resurgence. Pete Stoyanovich to kick off. Raiders ahead 10-7. We start the second half in Miami. From the 8-yard line, Ron Brown, who got belted the last time he ran a kickback, takes it back out to the 28-yard line. And the tackle is made by Rick Graff. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Pontiac and your local Pontiac dealer. We build excitement. And by Ultravision, the ultimate in sight and sound, only from Hitachi. Art Shell watching his Raiders take over at the 28-yard line to begin the second half. Against the Miami defense, coming into the game ranked first in the league. Fewest yards allowed, fewest points allowed. Bo Jackson cannot turn the corner. He was tackled after Tim McKyer had come up from the corner to stop his momentum. Bo takes a 2-yard loss back to the 25, 2nd and 12.
And McKyer's made some good plays tonight. That was one of them that kind of gets lost in the shuffle. He stretched it out and allowed the pursuit to catch Bo. And there's a 2-yard loss. It's good cornerback play. And he's been making those kinds of plays all year long.
Schrader, very good protection, finds the open man. That's Willie Gault, first down, out at the 41-yard line, tackled by J.B. Brown. 16-yard gain.
Good read by Gault, too. Dolphins laying zone defense. He took it on what was going to be a fly pattern. Raiders like to take that ball deep. They're averaging over 15 yards a reception, but Gault read the zone, turned it into a hook, and Schrader was right on the target.
First and 10 at the 40. Early third quarter. Raiders up by 3. Jackson picks up 2. News of the day in the NFL, if you have not heard, Mr. Manley was reinstated by Commissioner Paul Tagliabue, but he was waived by the Redskins. That was not surprising. The Redskins don't want him. What happens next? Well, the team with the worst record, to wit New England at the moment, gets first crack at him off the waiver wire. If they don't choose him, then it would be a coin toss between Phoenix and Cleveland as to who would have the next choice. There has been a lot of speculation he could wind up with the Raiders or the Dolphins as Jackson takes it to the outside.
Will not be activated until what, December the 9th. He can return to active play on the 9th.
I guess the process now to find out who gets Dexter Manley is that it'll actually be tomorrow that the Redskins will place him on waivers, and then there's a 24-hour waiver period, so it will be Wednesday until we know for sure who will have the services of Dexter Manley. And we are assuming that someone will claim him on waivers. Joe Bugle in Phoenix certainly made some favorable comments. Today in the newspaper, Art Shell all but said we'd love to have him on the Raiders.
3rd and 3 from the 48-yard line. And Schrader, after pump faking, throws and has a first down to the 40-yard line to Ethan Horton. You know, Dan, there's another side to this story as well. There's a little hand-wringing going on from some people on the outside, including some people in Congress about what sort of a message does the reinstatement of Manley send to kids.
You know, that's a legitimate concern. It's unfortunate, though, that it really is a system where it's spelled out ahead of time. It is a lifetime suspension, but it is subject to review after 1 year. And that was known going in, and Dexter Manley has cleaned up. Now, we'll follow it up after this story.
Bo Jackson breaks the tackle. There's a flag down, and Jackson with a gain of about 20 down to the 23-yard line. But let's see about the penalty.
No matter what they do with it, that was one of the exceptional runs you're going to see.
Back it comes, though.
Following up on the Dexter Manley thing, a part of his reinstatement by the commissioner was that he has to be clean, he has to undergo drug testing, and he has to be in a supervised...
Number 88 offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
He has to be in a supervised and a structured support program. And so, you know, you can look at it either way. You can say, well, here's a guy who screwed up his opportunity, doesn't deserve another chance, and should be banned for the rest of his life. The other side is we're a compassionate society. We are a society that likes to forgive and give someone another chance. The question that will be debated is, how many chances do you give someone? I'm not willing, and I'm not able to sit in judgment.
Well, I think you touched on it initially, Dan. It is the policy.
On 1st and 20, after the penalty was called on Ethan Horton for the hold, Marcus Allen with a great run after the catch, taking it to the 34-yard line. So he picks up 16 of those 20. It'll be 2nd and 3.
I think it's interesting, too, that the Redskins waived Dexter Manley, where, of course, he had spectacular years, but he was spectacular as a pass rusher primarily. He was not known to be strong all around defensively against the run. But if you're sitting there looking for somebody to put pressure on a passer, as a lot of teams are, then he basically is a specialist in that area.
Well, the Dolphins could use a little of that right now. Jay Schrader is having plenty of time to sit back in the pocket.
Shula over the years has shown that out and give people second chances. He's done it many times.
2nd and 3. Bo Jackson picks up the first down as he takes it to the 30-yard line. A first down for the Raiders with 10:15 to play. Third quarter, 10-7 Los Angeles.
With the Dolphins, with their 8-1 record, they're going to be way down that waiver wire.
Well, right now the Raiders picking up pretty much where they left off, and their ability to go up and down the field. I don't know what Don Shula and his defensive coordinator Tom Olivedati talked about at halftime. I'm not sure that it's taking effect yet. The Raiders, a very impressive drive underway.
Smith and Jackson, the backfield tandem. Gold split left and Fernandez to the right. Schrader to put it up. Schrader going deep and out of bounds. Intended for Mervin Fernandez. It'll be 2nd and 10. The Raiders, it's a funny thing because they talk about the old Raider style. Well, the old Raider style is to run the ball as they're doing it tonight, pound it, and also to go deep. The Raiders this season are last in the league in completed passes, but first in the league in yards per completion. It tells you one thing: they love to go deep.
They always have. Stabler, Branch, Al Davis likes it. As long as he's around, they're going to do it.
2nd and 10. Catch is made by Brown, and he's tackled immediately by McKyer after a 5-yard gain. They will spot the ball at the 25. And 3rd down, and let's call it 4.
You know, to take that a step farther, in an era where on many teams a running back is their leading receiver, I don't think we're going to see that happening in the Raiders anytime in the near future. You look at Steve Smith had 2 catches coming into tonight's game. Marcus Allen had only 9. Bo Jackson had 2.
I mean, there were years where Allen was up in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, well, I don't think that's going to happen with Art Shell.
Fernandez has 36. Gall has 28. The 2 wide men averaging over 60 yards per catch.
On 3rd and 4. Schrader. And it's incomplete. Willie Gall doing his best to try to get a penalty called on J.B. Brown, but the officials not biting. Good coverage.
Sensational coverage by J.B. Brown.
There's a flag down back at the line of scrimmage.
That's your basic holding flag, I do believe.
Holding, number 72 offense. Penalty declined. 4th.
Don Mosbar, the center.
To the ground, he had no chance to get to the ball. Maybe 1 in a 20 chance he'll draw a bad flag.
Yeah, that was good coverage by Brown. He made Galt take that so wide and around he couldn't get to the ball.
Jeff Jaeger, a 43-yard attempt. Gossett puts it down, and the kick is perfect. So he's made a 23-yarder and a 43-yarder. And with 8:39 to play in the third quarter, the Raiders are their margin to 6. 13-7 left third quarter. Raiders on top 13-7. Jeff Jaeger to put it in the air. Comes down into the arms of Mark Higgs. And Higgs from the 6 brings it back to the 28-yard line. Miami ball at the 28, Joe Robbie Stadium. The site 8:20. 30-1, 113-3 on the ground, and yet there's only a 6-point difference on the board. 13-7, LA.
And I'll also tell you what Dan Marino can do with just a very few plays.
And that one drive at the end of the half to get him right back in it, 77 yards. From the 28, there's a whistle that stops the play before it begins.
I think they're going to get after the Dolphins here.
Number 62 offense. 5 yards, still first down.
Barry Galbraith, the right guard, got a big head start as he fired off the line a good half-second early.
The Dolphin offensive line with the 2 rookies, a second-year man, third-year man, fourth-year man. Time of possession, they haven't had the ball much, have the Dolphins. 26-29 for the Raiders, and the Dolphins have had it just a couple of ticks over 10 minutes with 8:27 to go in the third quarter. On 1st and 15, Marino from the shotgun throws underneath to Jensen. He makes the catch and stretches forward to the 31-yard line. Robinson makes the stop.
Jensen getting a big play tonight. We talked earlier about Tony Page, actually the leading receiver for the Dolphins, with a bad knee, did not suit up tonight. He really used the running game that they used so successfully early in the season. Good blocker.
2nd and 7 for Miami. As Marino throws, and it's Duper who goes to make the catch for a first down at the 41-yard line.
I mean, I think they're looking back to how effectively they moved the ball there at the end of the first half using a no-huddle offense. I think it's an excellent play by Miami to get right to the line of scrimmage. They've got the Raiders a little off balance. Keep them that way. Looks like we're going to have a review, but it certainly looked like a good catch by Duper.
The play is being reviewed.
And that's a good job by Gordon McCray.
Yep, that's just the way it should work. That's Duper's catch tonight. First down from the 42-yard line. Marino fires. The catch is made at the 45, and it's Troy Stratford to the 42-yard line. First down on a Marino bullet.
If you're a quarterback, and most quarterbacks, 99.9% of them looking at that, wishing they had that release. That was great coverage on Stratford, and he just zipped that in.
And Marino threw that in the face of a blitz from Ricky Ellison, who decked him at the 43-yard line. Marino throws low to the 34. Robinson says no catch, and the officials concur. Tony Martin, the intended receiver.
7, and here's the mistake. Look at these 2 guys right here. One of them has to be up here on the line of scrimmage. You can see both of them are back off the line. That only leaves you 6 guys on the line of scrimmage. One of those outside receivers had to walk up and cover that tackle.
Penalty is declined since the pass was incomplete, and it's 2nd and 10.
If we talked about the scramble that the Dolphins are in with Banks out, Clayton out on the IR, Andre Brown, another wide receiver, and they're using people in different formations they ordinarily would not be using, and that perhaps is causing some of the problem.
It's 2nd and 10 from the 43-yard line. Stratford goes nowhere, and it will be 3rd and 10. Townsend in on the tackle. Dan Marino, 1 completion of 40 or more yards in 10 games in 1990, and that is, I don't have to tell you, very unusual.
Well, he doesn't have to win games 41-38 anymore, and that's what it's been Dolphins have had one winning season since 1985. And Marino has been the Dolphins.
Best to take the helmet off before the guy does that. Always best to remove the hat before that happens.
Third and 10. Marino on a roll, throws, and it's incomplete, intended for Scott Schwady. And it will be fourth down. The coverage by Terry McDaniel. Got a hand on it. And it's fourth down at the 43. And Roby comes in to punt.
And the other punter is punting. There it is. He times the hang time of the other punter. And he also times how long it takes him to get.
Shouldn't be allowed to wear a watch in a football game.
Well, Mike Westhoff, the special teams coach, said it keeps them in the game. He said they're so isolated anyway. This gives him something to do.
Doesn't look.
Are in town to play the Miami Heat tomorrow, and some of the guys, Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, and Bill Lambier are out here with their Raider jerseys.
Lambier would make a heck of a tight end, wouldn't he?
From the 11-yard line, the Raiders begin this drive as Marcus Allen picks up 3, takes it to the 14 and 7.
I think Lambier might be more suited for linebacker or defensive end. He's got the temperament, I think, for a defensive player more than a
forearms to go with it.
Yeah. There's the big man on the right.
Might draw a flag or two.
You can see already a puffy left eye. You can tell the NBA season's underway for Big Bill. I guess it's fitting that the bad boys from the Motor City align themselves with the black and silver.
Natural gravitation. Second and 7 from the 14. Bo Jackson takes off, and Bo Jackson with his longest run of the season.
Oh, this will be
to the 39-yard line, and a late hit, but no flag, and then a little skirmish. Jarvis Williams was the guy who runs him out of bounds.
Well, yeah, Bo, you see what happened there. Bo thought that he went out of bounds well before that, but I don't know that there's any way that Jarvis Williams is able to tell that he went out of bounds.
Jarvis Williams all spun around. You couldn't expect him not to finish it off, which is there's Williams.
Let's watch for did Jarvis get his hand on the face mask? Yeah, he sure does.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there's what Bo's hot about. You can't blame him for that.
And don't do that in front of the Raider bench.
Well, boy, this is the first time he missed, but here it comes again. Well, you can see the official was screened. He was looking where he went out of bounds rather than following the play, which he should have done.
Here's Marcus Allen after Jackson gains 26. Allen picks up 15 and a first down to the 45 of Miami. Offerdahl makes the tackle.
Miami #1 defensively in the league. They were second coming into tonight against the rush, and the Raiders are making shambles of that.
4:12 remaining in the third quarter. Raiders on top 13-7. Bo Jackson tonight 78. That's a great race going on right now. Jackson and Allen.
Right now at this point it's the Miami pounded machine.
Yes.
They're getting it put to them pretty good on the ground.
They are the poundees this evening at the 45-yard line. Hernandez drops the ball. It would have been a 6-yard pickup. It'll be second and 10. Swervin' Mervin.
I'm talking about the great defense of the Dolphins, but again, we go back to the teams that the Dolphins have played. Their victories, 6 of them coming against 2 against the Jets, and 1 against Indianapolis, 1 against Phoenix, and then also 2 against New England.
Dolphins coming in, as you saw, the only team in every game holding the opposition to 4 yards or less per carry. 4 yards is the average gain in the league, and 4.8 is the average tonight, and that's just about what Bo Jackson picks up here, about 4.8 yards on second and 10.
Looks closer to 4.6 to me.
4.75.
Yeah, that's strong running too. When you see the close in on the running back, then you see the pile surge with Jackson, you know he's putting everything into it. He is strong.
It is third down, and let's call it 5.5 from the 40-yard line.
Hey, you take one Heisman Award winner out, and you bring in another one.
Third, call it 6 from the 40. 3:10 to go, third quarter. Raiders up by 6. They pick up the blitz, and Schrader is the man underneath Fernandez, but he drops it again. Pass a little low, but certainly catchable. Oliver covering, and the Raiders are forced to kick. And it's Oliver who is late in getting up.
Schrader really had a little more time than he thought he had, and then Fernandez, of course, reading the blitz with him, didn't give him much of a chance over the middle.
Yeah, but that was really just a poor throw by Jay, way behind Swervin Mervin, who had very little chance. Jay Schrader, by the way, asked us to say hi to his 6-year-old son, Brian, who's celebrating his 6th birthday at home tonight.
Is it Brian Jay?
Yeah, and Jay's name is Jay Bryant.
Here's Jeff Gossett's first kick. He angles it, but doesn't get it into the coffin corner. It's a touchback and comes back to the 20. So that's only a 23-yard net for the Raiders. Miami has it at the 20. 2:50 to go. 13-7. Los Angeles.
Spectacular weather over the past few days here in Miami. Expect more of it.
There's a guy whose name we haven't called a lot tonight. The great one, Howie Long.
In fact, not once.
Yeah, the much injured one the last couple of years has really battled his way back. Is all the way back now. Had a good game last week in that Raider loss, and yet not a factor here this evening. Yet.
Marino comes up in the gun on first down from the 20 and begins on the ground with a handoff to Jim Jensen. Picks up hard, and naturally, the minute you say it, who makes his first tackle of the night?
Well, it's tough to shut this guy out for a long time. What a body this guy has. When you see Howie Long come out, one of the fine athletes in the National Football League, from the soles of his feet to the top of his head, he is just a superbly conditioned athlete. He looks like he's about 5'11" when you see him, and then you go up and talk to him and realize that he's every 5.
2nd and 8, Miami from the 22. Marino checking off at the line, and there's the play clock down to 4 at the snap. And Marino with a little touch pass that is incomplete, intended for Duper. He looks for the flag.
I think we're going to get a tripping call.
Well, McDaniel was covering, and we are going to get a tripping call.
Yeah, and it was Howie Long, I think, that got tripped. Well, you can see that thing easily. I think it was Harry Galbraith, the right guard again. Watch him go down. Howie gets by him. Now watch this. Wham! Right on the knees. There's the umpire.
Number 62 offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
Yeah, you're really good tonight.
The kind of mistakes a talented player like Howie Long will force you into.
Trips left, 2nd and 18 from the 12-yard line.
Those trips last play.
Yeah, right. And trying to set up the screen for Stratford. Ill-conceived to begin with, and Stratford started to stumble anyway. And naturally, it was Howie Long who didn't get a call all night to put the pressure on. And a hold against the Raiders, and that's a huge one because it goes from 2nd and long to 1st down.
Holding number 36 defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
Big penalty. Instead of 3rd and 18, 1st and 10. Terry McDaniel.
McDaniel was way away from the actual play. And that was a big penalty. Dolphins backed way up, and with the penalty goes the 1st down.
Raiders up 13-7, 1:55 to go, 3rd quarter. From the gun, 4-man rush. Marino fires over the middle to Jensen. Jensen has a down to the Miami
Scrimmage.
1st and 10 from the 29. Great protection from Marino, but then the pass is overthrown, intended for Jensen, who was covered well by Ricky Ellison. 2nd and 10.
Jensen originally came into the league, of course, as a much-told story as a quarterback. Hung around as a backup quarterback and decided about the only way he was going to play would be to get on the quarterback. He can be a running, he can be a tight end for you. He can be the kind of man that they're using him tonight when they're so short on wide receivers.
2nd and 10, a toss to Stratford, and Anderson comes up to hit him at the 32-yard line, and it will set up a 3rd and 7.
Greg Townsend again in on that play. What game he's playing tonight, number 93, the defensive end. He leads the Raiders in sacks at 9.5 and has really been playing the run game so well. He's been in on a lot of tackles this evening. Look at him there, the left of your screen. Plays off the block of Edmonds at tight end. Jensen stacks him up, fights through, gets in a little bit late, but it up.
3rd and 7 from the 32. Final minute, 3rd quarter. Raiders up by 6. Play clock down to 1 as Marino gets it off. Marino goes for Duper, who makes a great catch to the 28-yard line. He came back to get it.
How many times have we seen that? The ball underthrown a little bit, and Lionel Washington sprinting with Duper. Duper got behind him earlier in the game, you might recall, and this time Duper was able to go up and take the short ball and come down with a completion.
And watch Lionel Washington try to spike Duper at the end of the play when he falls down. Watch, Lionel goes to the ground and intentionally comes up and spikes Mark Duper. That's a play that if the official would have seen it, he should have thrown the flag.
Duper with a great effort.
This is intentional by Washington coming up, and Mark Duper perilously close to an uncomfortable situation.
He begins the quarter at the Raider 28, 1st and 10, after the 40-yard completion to Duper. And Sammy Smith, who's been pretty silent tonight, remains so. Loses 2. Scott Davis pushes him back to the. Here's a reminder, tomorrow night, don't miss the conclusion of the world premiere miniseries based on.
Going to be entered in that, but it would have been totally unfair.
It is dramatic, though. You can get some big bucks and strange things happen.
2nd and 12. Marino stepping up, and he doesn't do this often, but he does it very effectively here, and it nets a 1st down at the 15-yard line. They'll spot it at the 17, where he began the slide.
What's his average per carry over the years?
Over the years, it's measured in inches. It's measured in negative inches.
Well, he just padded the average with that burst.
Just erased it. They really had nowhere to go. I mean, the good coverage back there, and he pulls it down, and he was shocked to see nothing but grass in front of him. He knew exactly where he had to be to get the 1st down, however.
1st down at the 17-yard line. 13:30 to play. Marino throws, and that's incomplete at the 11-yard line. Double coverage on Jim Jensen as Ellison was there, helped out by Alex Gordon. 2nd and 10. Let's take a look at the numbers for the first 45 minutes of play. Still a big advantage for the Raiders in every area except passing yardage.
Almost a 2-to-1 advantage for the Raiders in the time of possession.
And a well-played game, nary a turnover. Second and 10 at the 17-yard line.
Marino changing it off.
And the play clock down to 3. He gets it off at 2. Protected well, fires to the 2-yard line. It's caught by Farrell Edmonds, the big tight end. Makes his first reception of the night at a most opportune point.
And what spectacular is the only word I can apply to that throw, right between 2 defenders. And the big tight end, Frank, watch this throw. Benson on the back. Here comes the safety in on the other side. I mean, spectacular.
Coupled with the change off at the line of scrimmage, looking up, and with about 1 second, the ball was snapped, and very calmly and coolly drilled it into Edmonds.
Mike Harden, the safety, looked like he was lost on that play. He didn't even get a hit on Edmonds. Here comes another audible by Marino.
1st and goal at the 3. And again, the play clock right down to 2. And on a sweep, it's Sammy Smith losing 5. Mike Harden, the safety, comes up the play up. Raiders have been sensational in these types of situations. Here it is graphically. When the opponent has a 1st and goal. The Raiders have given up a touchdown only 23% of the time. As you can see, the league average 68%. They have really been tough down deep.
Boy, if the Dolphins audible to that play, I'd hate to see the play they had called before that. It must have been a real stinker.
2nd and goal from the 8 after Smith loses 4 wide receivers. Marino throws, caught by Duper at the 5, and he's to the 4 before he's pushed back by Harden and Washington. And Washington has a couple of words with Keith Sims, the rookie.
Poor choice, been around.
Turns him into a Thanksgiving wishbone.
Brady's replaces Edmonds. Will have the 4 wide receivers. The Dolphins like their crossing patterns down here. We saw it earlier. They to use the pick play.
3rd and goal, and there's the play clock down to 0.
They didn't get it.
This play does not count. Does not count. There's a delay of game. No play. No touchdown.
No.
Marino saying that I got it off. He was looking right at the clock, and he is really exercised.
And Gordon McCarter is not happy with Dan Marino.
Well, they have been flirting with this on almost every play on this drive.
Delay of game. Offense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down. Hey!
On the 40-yard pass to Duper, they were down to the last half second. You saw the clock go to 0.
Down close.
It is 3rd and goal, and again he's flirting with that play clock. It's down to 5, and he had to collect himself, as Dan said, and to do so, it cost him a timeout.
Well, he walked up there, and he wanted the time to change the play at the line of scrimmage as he looked at the defense. The defense wasn't even deployed, so consequently he did not have the time.
Have a right to be. There's the clock. Watch the ball move after the clock goes to 0-0. There's 0-0. There's the movement of the ball. The back judge threw the flag incorrectly.
It cost him 5. The ball is at the 9. It is 3rd down and goal. The 13th play of this drive coming up.
This is what Marino wanted to do a moment ago. Look at the defense deployed. See where he's going to get the man-for-man coverage. He'll call the play, and that's where he'll go.
Trips right and Duper left, and he looks to the right and he fires, and the pass is incomplete, intended for Tony Martin. So it's 4th down, and in comes the field goal unit to try to shave the lead to 3.
Talked about the Raiders. Their defense inside the 5-yard line. Inside the 20, they're very good. And once again, with a little bit of an assist from Dan Marino, they are going to be able to keep the Dolphins to at least 3.
And again, as we pointed out, the league average, when a team is 1st and goal, they will score about 2 times per 3 attempts. And the Raiders have allowed position to get in less than 1 time per 4 attempts. This is a 27-yard field goal attempt for Stoyanovich. And he boots it through. He's been perfect, Pete, except for a 53-yard miss last week at the Meadowlands in a swirling wind. It's 13-10. 30 seconds remaining. 13-10 Raiders. The Dolphins, who down with the 1st and goal and had to settle for 3 to kick off. Pete Stoyanovich to boot it in the direction of Jamie Holland and Ron Brown. Brown closest to us, or to the left of your screen. Brown downing it in the end zone. Raiders take over 20. Here's the Dolphin drive, which bogged down, as we say, inside the 5-yard line, but they had the ball for almost half the quarter. 72 yards, or what would amount to half of a quarter. The 3rd into the 4th, 7:20. By the way, Jay Schrader, that's an interesting thing because he's come under some heat in the last couple of weeks in L.A. Best record as a starter among active QBs, only Montana and McMahon. A better percentage than Schrader. That includes his starts as a Redskin, but he's won 2 of every 3 starts in his career, and he leads by 3 tonight. Here's Bo for a gain of 9 at the 29-yard line. Tackled by Odom and Oliver. One man conglomerate right there, Bo Jackson. Royals, Raiders, commercials, and my literary sources tell me his newest book, Bo Knows Bo, in collaboration with Dick Schaap, is going to be #4 on the New York Times bestseller list next week. What about Bo, though? Talking about stats, we saw Schrader winning 2 out of every 3. There are the Raiders with and without Bo. 1 game under without him, 3 games under with him.
Far and away his best game thus far this year tonight. He's been instrumental in such a big part of the Raiders' ground game.
Marcus Allen seeks the first down and gets it. Short little gain, but enough to take it across the 30. Oda makes the tackle. First down, L.A.
It's a pretty combination when you can take Bo out and bring Marcus in. And Dan already talked about the offensive line of the Raiders, and they have controlled time of possession of the game. But again, Dan Marino with the arm has been bringing the Dolphins back.
First down at the 31. 9 minutes to play. Allen, the tailback. Marcus with the ball, and it's a nice play in to break it up before it gets started. Sean Lee picked up at the start of the season after Tampa Bay and Atlanta couldn't find room for him.
Sean, give us a break.
2nd and 11. Schrader for Allen, and Marcus drops the ball at the 21. Lost his footing. Marcus doing a lot on that play. Stayed in to help out on the block, then became a receiver, but can't hold. 3rd and 11.
Looks like he did stay in to block Allen. He makes
Deep zone umbrella type, covering both outside receivers with 2 men.
Boy, they're on their feet here, Joe Robbie.
On 3rd and 11. Schrader throws underneath to Brown, but well short of the first down. Brown hit at the 35-yard line. Tim McIver and Jarvis Williams converge on the stop, and the Raiders will kick.
Olivedotti's crew, which has been pushed around a lot here this evening, makes a stand when they needed to. Here's a guy that when he first got here in Miami received more than his fair share of criticism for the way the defensive team played, and he must sleep a lot easier here in 1990.
Funny thing, though, they've been pushed around, as you say, clearly tonight, but on the scoreboard, only 13 points for the Raiders. Here's Gossett to kick. You saw Schwades dropping back to take. And that one is out of bounds at about the 30. Not much distance on the Gossett kick. 34 yards to be precise. Raiders up by time. Cameraman, the great Tommy O'Connell, and his wife Nancy. Proud parents today of Kathleen Ann O'Connell.
I've got one that likes younger women.
Yeah.
That's a nice Irish name, Kathleen O'Connell.
Congratulations, Tommy.
Way to go, Tommy and Nancy. First down, Miami from the 30-yard line. They trail by 3. 7:13 left. Troy Stratford cannot get outside. He's hit first by Gary Lewis and then finished off by Lionel Washington. Gary Lewis, the rookie out of Alcorn State. Good-looking cornerback. How about the QB comparison tonight? Marino and Schrader. Their numbers head-to-head on the evening. 10 out of 19 for Jay, 116 yards, and Marino with 191 yards through the air, completing 64% of his passes.
They just put 8 men up at the line. They love to blitz on 2nd and long yardage.
2nd and 15. Jensen. He is stopped at the 37-yard line. It's going to set up a 3rd and 3. Robinson was there. They can take some time off the clock.
It's almost like their goal line offense. They come with the 4 wide receivers, and You'll probably see some kind of crossing pattern with the end.
A play of some significance here on 3rd and 3, and it is caught, but does he have the first down? Stratford very, very close.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
It doesn't look like it by the way the chains are situated. It looks like the chains are beyond the 40. Looks like the ball would have had to cross the 40 to get a first down.
It does. He appears to be short by inches. They're going to measure. Goes to the ball on the 40.
Yeah, that's
shy by inches. Dolphins this year on 4th down are 5 of 6. And they will go for it.
The man that they have had in blocking for Sammy Smith on most of their short yardage plays is Tony Page, and of course he is not suited up tonight, out with a bad knee. So that could change some of the thinking as to what they do in short yardage.
And they have Garrett Limbrick in there to block. He is the fullback in this set.
The Raiders in with 5 defensive linemen.
Smith has it. Anderson comes up to make the hit, but Sammy needed inches and picked up a yard.
Interesting, Dan. They ran over the kids.
Yeah, they sure did. They went to the left side behind Sims and Richmond Webb. Richmond Webb, all 300 pounds, the #1 draft choice, takes his guy off the line. A lot of confidence by Don Shula and John Sandusky, their offensive line coach.
4:35 to go. Marino going for Duper. Can't make the catch. Got behind Lionel Washington, let him a bit too much, and it will be 2nd and 10.
Well, he's behind Lionel Washington, but only by about 6. Busy night for number 48. He's been at the apex of this thing all evening.
2nd and 10 from the 41-yard line. Marino throws to Jensen. He takes it out to the 46. And again, the Dolphins face a critical 3rd down play here. That's 7 catches tonight for the versatile Jensen. 3rd and 5. Marino nearly goes down and then underthrows. At the 43-yard line, it was Aaron Wallace, the rookie out of Texas A&M, who forced the issue and nearly had the sack. And now you've got another 4th down play.
I think Don, again, has already made the decision. He called Marino over and basically said, we're going to go for it.
You know, the tough thing there, Aaron Wallace is working against one of his best friends, Richmond Webb. These guys grew up together, went to college together. Webb gives him the soft corner, and Wallace just not able to hold on.
Those two guys have known each other since they were 8 years old.
Well, right there, Rich, I think, took it a little bit easy on his friend and almost paid a big price for it.
4th and 5, 3:42 remaining.
They're locked up again, 51 and 78.
And the play clock was down to 2, and Miami has to take another timeout. That's their 2nd. They have only 1 left.
And that could hurt, and really uncharacteristic of a veteran coach. But look at this now. Look at what the absence of having 3 timeouts does to them now.
That's exactly right. Instead of going for it, they had to rethink the whole strategy.
Well, I think punting here is the right play anyway, but they only have 1 timeout to stop the clock with.
And 1 at the 2-minute warning, and there's no punt here because there was a whistle that stopped that play.
I think we have another delay of game.
We do.
I don't think they got it off again. Oh, this is sloppy football at its best here by the Dolphins.
And not terribly characteristic of this man.
No.
Put that number away.
You know, in the sidelines, the Raiders sidelines, the offensive unit is together saying, look, let's go out there and run this football, run the clock out. We can control it.
Roby's kick, Brown, fair catch at the 24. The clock is down at 3:34. The Dolphins can stop it once on their own and once at the 2-minute warning. If the Raiders pick up without thinking the mathematics totally through, I think 1 first down is going to be enough to do it. Next 2 weeks on Monday Night Football, a couple of beauties for you. Next week, Dome in Houston. The Oilers coming off their win yesterday over Cleveland. 5 touchdown passes for Moon against the Bills, who won
On of this game tonight.
First down from the 24-yard line. Steve Smith to the 25. Now the Dolphins want to take the timeout here. They look around and say no. Second down and 9. Raiders, of course, will take as much time off as they can. And when the next snap occurs, we will be down to about 2:45.
Critical. The fact the Dolphins had to waste 2 timeouts. They would have stopped the clock there for sure.
Second and 9. And Schrader takes a timeout.
Oh, Jay.
Ooh. The Dolphins say thank you. And Shell can't believe it. I mean, I don't know.
It's hard to fathom.
Wow.
He had 8 seconds on the play clock. He obviously did not like what he had called against the defense. But
9 from the 25-yard line. 2:53 remaining.
Well, the Miami pound machine can salvage what has not been a great night defensively by holding the Raiders here.
Bo Jackson out to the 33-yard line. It's going to set up a 3rd down and 2. And now Miami will take a timeout, I believe. There is a whistle. Either that or somebody's hurt. J.B. Brown is down. Yep. He's got a bloody mouth. And the Dolphins also have taken a timeout. It's an official timeout for Miami.
Quarterback J.B. Brown, who is having a whale of a season for the Dolphins. You can see the blood coming out of the mouth. I'm not sure he knows what area code he's in at the moment. He comes up head-on-head with Bo, and he took the brunt of it.
Let's get this straight. The Dolphins did not take a timeout. McCartney said officials timeout. Now they start the clock again. So the Dolphins still have that 1 timeout plus 1 of the 2-minute play clock. The game clock on the right.
Well, Brady's going to have to hustle this up.
Big play here. 3rd and a short 2. Marcus Allen.
He didn't get it.
No. He's stopped by Cliff Odom. McKyer also came in to help break the play up. And we have a 4th down. The officials again stopping the clock here. This is Miami's last timeout. And then they get 1 more at the 2-minute warning.
Why did the Dolphins take a timeout there?
I'm thinking the same thing.
Why?
That's the wrong. In 6 seconds, you get a free timeout, and then you save 1. You're exactly right.
Ordinarily, if there were 18
bad
or
call.
20 seconds, you take a timeout, but to save 6 seconds, and that's what they did.
Bad call.
They wasted their last timeout.
Yep, you're going to get the ball back on the punt anyway.
I can't believe that came from the side.
Weirdest timeouts we've ever seen. Gossett, after a quick snap, it's fielded at the 33-yard line by Schwades. He gets out of bounds. The 2-minute warning comes with 1:58 remaining. Miami trying to at least get into field goal position and force OT. They trail by 3. First down at their 42-yard line.
Have to keep in mind, Pete Stoyanovich has been a hot kicker for the Dolphins, and he can kick it from way out. He's got one from 51 this year, one from 53, and a couple of years ago he hit one from 59.
Dan Marino in the gun at the 42-yard line. Throws on the run. It's caught up at the 47-yard line. Catch is made by Tony Martin. It's going to be 2nd and 5. And again, the only way they can stop the clock is to throw it into the ground or go out of bounds. On 2nd and 5. Marino fires over the middle, and it's nearly intercepted. Gary Lewis got his hand on it. 3rd down. Intended for Stratford. 1:33 remaining. Stoyanovich keeping the leg loose. 59-yarder last year at the Meadowlands.
That was in kind of gale conditions, I might also add.
When you look at the amount of time remaining on the clock, Shula and Marino are able to go ahead and chip away with that 7 to 10 yard pattern. There is plenty of time to get up to the line of scrimmage, run another play. They haven't reached that stage yet with 93 seconds still left here in the game, even though they have no timeouts. Here on third down, though, what they need is a first down.
Right, got to keep moving those sticks, and the Raiders may have helped them do it. No play. It's whistle dead. Howie Long came across.
Marino is also a master of the hard count at the appropriate moment.
I didn't see anybody move on the offensive line.
Encroachment, 75 defense, 5 yards. The penalty will make it a first.
It will be a first down. Another look just to make sure it is a first down.
It won't be by much. It's right in the middle. Look at Howie really anticipating it and getting off. You notice here in a crucial situation, they moved Long over to the left side of the offensive line to his right side to go against the two rookies, Sims and Webb.
Crowd cheers as it's officially announced it's a first down.
Oh, and there is a critical error by Long and the Raiders. 2 downs away from winning the ball game, and that gives them a first down.
First and 10. 1:33 remaining.
Dolphins really only need about 12 yards to put Stoyanovich well within range.
And Marino throws it behind Stratford, who was covered by Lewis. Second down. Again, what happens if the Raiders win? They remain in first place all alone. A game in front of Kansas City, the AFC. If the Dolphins lose, they drop a game back of Buffalo in the AFC East. Second and 10 at the 47.
Oh, there's
and the Raiders came across again. Looked like Scott Davis.
Well, I think Harry Galbraith, the right guard, might have moved.
False start.
Yeah.
Number 62 offense. 5 second down.
Oh, he hates to see that happen.
Boy, a tough night for old Harry. I think that's his 4th penalty. Here he is right here. Watch the watch the movement. There it is. Well before the snap of the football. That draws Davis across the line of scrimmage.
Well, usually tell you one of Dan how well Davis has been playing all night.
Boy, Harry is this is a night to forget.
Second and 15 at the 48. Marino has it batted by McDaniel. Terry McDaniel batted it away, intended for Schwede, and it's 3rd and 15. 1:22 to go.
Talk about just flicking out a left hand at the last instant and knocking the ball up into the air. This is Terry McDaniel showing pretty good eye-hand coordination. Watch the left arm. Boy, he gets it in there and right off a fingertip. Oh. Nearly intercepted. Down to the wire. 3rd and what, 15?
Yep.
Cooper split left, and with the Dolphins, love to see number 83 split right. Mark Clayton on the IR.
Marino tries to get into the Raider 37 and can't. Schwede drops it at the 40. He put it right there. The coverage, and the Dolphins are down to a 4th and 15 to stay alive.
What
Perfectly thrown by Marino, but that's good coverage too.
But fabulous touch by Dan. I mean, he even arched this ball right in there, took something off of it. I think it hits Schwede right in the face, right through his hands. One of the best passes Dan Marino has made in a long time. Look how he is dropping that ball right in there and right through Schwede's hands and hits him in the face mask. That might be the best throw that this guy has made.
This is it.
Yep. They need 15 or the game is over. They have to get to the 37, and Marino gets hit as he throws, and it's incomplete. Intended for Stratford, who came back to try to get it at the 34, and that will do it.
Just win, baby. Just win, baby.
I'll tell you, give a lot of credit to Davis and Howie Long. They kept the pressure up. Every one of those plays were a pass. They had to go back and line up in wind sprint for a defensive lineman, and that time Davis was pressuring, forced Marino to release it.
And so they can run the clock out, and the Raiders have really had the Dolphins' number through the years. The Raiders will now be 14-3-1 in the history of this rivalry.
Well, if you were going to summarize this evening from the Miami Dolphins' point of view, it would be simply two things. One, a very uncharacteristic defensive performance in getting pushed up and down the field. And secondly, again, totally out of order, a lot of mistakes and penalties. Things you don't see on a Don Shula coached football team.
And now the frustration on the Dolphins' part manifests itself here on the kneel down by Schrader.
And the Dolphins, with no timeouts, they can do nothing with the clock.
Clock will just tick down. The executive producer of Monday Night Football is Jeffrey Mason. Our producer tonight, Ken Wolf. Game directed by Craig Janoff. Technical director Joe Chavo. Director Ben Harvey. Assistants to the producer Rick Abbott and Kurt Pfluger. Tech operations managers Jim Licata, Bob Simon, Dennis Zavo, otherwise known as Dennis Zabo, and our halftime associate producer Patrick McManus. Steve Hurd, our director of information. George Hill providing the stats up in the booth, and Malibu Kelly Hayes, our spotter nonpareil.
Both these ball clubs definitely for real, and we'll take a look at the Raiders again in, what, 3 weeks?
Against Detroit. Well, the Raiders go home in first place by a game over Kansas City. They meet the Chiefs Sunday at the Coliseum. Miami heads north to face Cleveland and now trail Buffalo by a game in the AFC East.
Congratulations to Big Art. I mean, this guy has come out of the assistant coaching ranks, a Hall of Fame player, and he is doing a superlative job with the Raiders. Excellent.
Final score, Raiders 13, Miami 10. Next week, the Dome in Houston. Oilers host the Buffalo Bills. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Dierdorff, good night from Miami.